Greetings once again, Sonic Heroes. Or should I say, Sonic Riders? Did I already make that joke before? I feel like I made that joke before. Regardless, the Clean Sweepstakes, sponsored by Clutch and Jewel and their individual organizations, are underway. Although Team Sonic was taken out through duplicitous means, they've allied themselves with Eggman, who's none too keen on what Clutch has been doing with his old tech, and so Sonic infiltrates the race as the Phantom Rider in an Eggman-designed costume and hovercraft, creating a big enough distraction so that Amy and Tails can infiltrate Clutch's ship and see why their gear might have malfunctioned, while Sonic causes a bit of havoc, throwing Jet and his gang a little bit off of their game. He's pursued by the new Diamond Cutters and a few security officers from Clean Sweep, though this causes a bit of mayhem and a tad bit of destruction thanks to a mistimed use of Lanolin's Golden Bell, which puts several riders in danger. Sonic does his best not to show he's helping out too much or saving too many people, but he does what he can where he can, only for none other than Surge to come barreling in looking for a fight, and thanks to her abilities almost exposing Sonic's face, meaning he has to engineer a quick getaway. Afterwards, Jet and his gang managed to win the first, second, and third in the race thanks to all the commotion, but it's not for them that the crowd cheers for. It's for Surge and Kit, the heroes who scared away a menace. And Surge and Kit find themselves actually enjoying a little bit of the admiration, leaving Jet naturally bitter. Meanwhile, aboard the Clean Sweep ship, as Tails and Amy investigate, what should they find? A tied-up Belle, who potentially has a story to tell. What'll happen next? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, jumping in with this very awesome cover. And I never noticed before, but you can see the shadow of Duo. Well, you can see an image of Duo in the shadow of the Phantom Rider. That's pretty cool, man. Well done on this cover. By Minho Kim, or DG Min, however they wish to refer to themselves. Alright, our story is by Evan Stanley, art by Minho Kim, colors by the man Reggie Graham, letters by Sean Lee, associate editor Bixie Matteo. Editor Thea Chuk. Production Johanna Natali. Okay, it's the roll call. You have Sonic the Hedgehog, the Blue Blur, fastest thing alive. Miles Tails per hour, tech-savvy sidekick, high-flying genius. Amy Rose, hammer-swinging heroine and restoration ally. Belle the Tinkerer, clumsy marionette, enthusiastic newcomer. The Babylon Rogues, legendary thieves, mercenaries for hire. Clutch the Possum, seedy businessman. Eggman Tech Hoarder. Duo the Cat, aka Mimic, expert infiltrator and ex-diamond cutter. Surge the Tenric, the mean green, roguish speedster. It's kind of odd that Kid isn't included in that. And the Restoration, successor to the Resistance, rebuilding society. We pick up on the airship for the event. Tails and Amy react in shock to what they see, with Amy exclaiming, "Oh my gosh, Belle?" They both say, seeing their tied-up friend in a locker. Amy quickly rips her free of her bindings, while Belle rips off the gag from her mouth, and Tails reattaches her hand. After doing so, Tails comments, "That's new. Yeah, I didn't know that she could get her hand to just operate on its own, or at least move through her hand? Kinda weird to say." Belle readjusts her hand, saying, "I've been tinkering. I thought it might come in handy. I just didn't know how soon." Handy. Amy questions, "Who did this to you?" Belle questions, "Y'all hear about your ex-gear, right?" Tails asks inquisitively, "Yeah, how do you know?" We have a bit of a flashback where we see that Belle was working on their boards. That's until Clutch and his men came in swiping them. Belle tells them, "I was helping check all the X gear, and I got to yours. I'd known your handiwork from a mile away, Tails, but before I could even start, Clean Sweep took 'em. They're supposed to be helping the restoration, but they've practically taken over. We see Belle, as they were taking away the gear, starting to argue with them. She says, whatever I saw, they didn't want anybody to know about it. You know the rest. And we see Clutch give a snap, and his men go for Belle. Though honestly speaking, he probably should have let her be. Let it just be a complaint with no proof. By actually tying her up, that means he was up to something. Belle gives a shiver as she says, man, that guy and his greasy coat were seriously creepy. With determination, Tails says, so, our suspicions was right. Clean Sweep messed with our gear. And Amy points out, hang on, Belle, what did you just say? Belle nervously says, there was someone else with the Clean Sweep guys, giving them orders. I didn't get a good look. He had a big hat and a coat on. And then Amy points out, and a fancy cane? Leaving Tails kind of bewildered and silent. Belle says, yeah. And then with a smile, Amy says, I know who is behind Clean Sweep Inc. We then, I guess, cut to the race, where someone gets nailed in the gut with a ball, sending him flying off of his extreme gear, with Night the Owl announcing, that's another one down. And we see Surge pump her fist in the air as Kit hands her another ball as the crowd cheers her name, with Night saying, watch out folks, Surge the Tenric is on a roll. We see the competition happening in some kind of mountainous region with a lot of fog all down below, with all of the riders flying around in a frenzy. Knight announces, our riders have to stay on their toes here in Misty Spire, but I'm betting you've never seen a game of dodgeball this exciting. Surge says, this is too easy. Come on, anybody here want to have a real fight? Jet trembles with anger, saying, she's doing it again. Wave rides up next to him, saying, deep breaths, Jet. Focus on the bigger picture. And then you see Storm holding a whole mass of balls. Meanwhile, Sonic in his Phantom Rider outfit peeks out from underneath one of the ships, saying to himself, all right, showtime. Here's hoping Eggy's hard light camouflage can double as a bit of armor, he says as he peeks out from underneath at Lanolin. Suddenly, Knight calls out, uh-oh, looks like we've got trouble again. Okay, I get what's going on here. Another Phantom Rider comes rocketing in, although with a different board and an actual scarf, unlike the energy-based one that Sonic has. As Knight announces, stay calm, race fans. Our referees are ready for this. The second Phantom Rider says, please, your diamond cutters are a joke. You'll have to do better than that to stop me. 1 down, 3 to go. Oh, wait, is he holding? Didn't even realize it. It's Duo's scarf he's holding. That's the best way to make it so that nobody questions where Duo went. Make it look like the Phantom Rider took him out. That's the 1 down, 3 to go. God, this guy is clever. We see everyone react in shock, from Surge and Kit, who are at the ready, to the Babylon Rogues with their jaws dropping, Lanolin angry, and I love the audience. They already have the little signs you can flip over to form a bigger picture that all just have like no Phantom Rider on it. That is hilarious. And Sonic, he's the most bewildered of all, and now wearing Duo's scarf. The second Phantom Rider comes racing in, with all of the other racers already throwing balls at him. But the Phantom Rider catches one of the balls and immediately knocks another rider off of his board. As Knight announces, this is brutal, someone stop this menace. It's then, just above the water, that the diamond cutters surround him. Lanolin says, nowhere to run, surrender. The Phantom Rider says, fine, fine, I've had my fun, but I could have a lot more, he says as he just knocks Lanolin right off of her bike. He then rockets off saying, that makes two, as Lanolin tries to keep from being even more submerged in the water, and it can't be easy with all that wet wool. Must feel like she's got like 30 pounds on her back. The announcer calls out, someone please stop the Phantom Rider! With the rogues going racing in as Surge and Kit cut in front of them, with Surge saying, move it, he's mine. All the while Sonic trails underneath the mist cover. As Sonic listens to their voices from down below, he hears Surge call out, yo, Phantom, give me your best shots, you scrub. While Jet says, shut up. If anybody's gonna take him out, it's gonna be me. Now, there's way too many very annoying green characters in this volume, in this issue. While Wave says, Jet, happy thoughts. But suddenly Sonic has to duck out of the way as he just barely misses being seen by Whisper and Tangle, who are too caught up in talking to each other. Whisper repeating, two down, two down. And Tangle whispers over to her, hey, Lano's okay. And we don't know. But suddenly a voice calls out saying, hey there, Fang. Ah, I get what's happening here. For some reason, the shadow of Surge appears before them in the mist, but all alone, saying, I thrashed you so good back in Central, they put it in the papers. Wild, huh? Imagine what they'll say when I smear you and your little lemur friend across one of these rocks. Angered, Whisper roars out and goes racing after Surge as she laughs off into the mist, Tangle calling out to Whisper and falling behind. Suddenly, there's a yell as Sonic continues to trail Whisper and Tangle. I love how they made sure we could tell the difference of who it is, because Sonic has that energy scarf. Whisper looks around, questioning to herself, where? But suddenly, in comes Surge and Kit, with Surge saying, I'm gonna pound whoever is laughing in here. It's creepy, only for Whisper to attack her with her blue cube hammer. Naturally, Kit comes in, brandishing his water tentacles, and Surge's eyes light up, saying, I thought we were playing nice, but if that's how you want to do this, let's go. As both she and Kit go after Whisper, but as Whisper takes off and Surge and Kit give chase, Tangle tries to catch up, calling out, hang on, Whisper, only for her to be caught by the tail by Kit's water tentacles. Kit telling her, don't interrupt. Surge is working, and he slams Tangle into Whisper's bike. Enter Jet, who says, what are you guys doing? Ah! Suddenly Jet is knocked into by Whisper, which throws him. Already pushed past his breaking point, Jet brandishes his Bancho fan, saying, oh, that is it. Storm starts winding up his fist, saying, oh, we're fighting? Finally! While Wave just lets out an exasperated gah. All the while the commotion is going on, you have Sonic hiding behind some rock saying, this could get really ugly. Can't just stand here, but how? Oh, holy crap! Only for Mimic in his regular form to come right out of the mist, looming over Sonic. He grabs at Sonic's helmet as Sonic tries to get his hands off of him. Ooh, but Mimic then manages to hit the buttons on Sonic's little wrist gauntlet thingy. This causes Sonic's holographic mask to start to fade away, much to Mimic's shock at who the Phantom Rider truly is. What the heck is all of this? But I guess because of all the other buttons being hit, we see a whole bunch of really wacky stuff come out of Sonic's board. Eggman, why did you put all this crap in here? Oh, but that also includes a rocket out of Sonic's Egg Gear, or Extreme Gear? Was that what it was called? Egg Stream Gear? Yeah, Extreme Gear. There we go. It crashes into one of the rocks next to Surge, exploding. Mimic fades into the mist, saying, this'll be interesting. Sonic calling out, get back here, who? Only for a voice to call out, Sonic? And Sonic, still without his mask, is now seen by Surge, Kit, Tangle, Whisper, and the Babylon Rogues, with only 2 out of those 7 people not having actively tried to kill him in the past, or at least beat him to a pulp. With everyone so caught off guard. It's only Wave that notices that the little mountain that they are next to, where the rocket exploded, is starting to crack and crumble. Everyone's alerted that I should move as Wave calls out, "It's falling! Run for it!" But Tangle is so bewildered and shook, she doesn't even notice, calling out, "But I don't," with only Sonic realizing the immediate danger that she's in, with him also frozen in the moment. It takes Whisper to pull Tangle out of harm's way, as Tangle is still trying to get out. "Sonic, why?" But the small mountain comes down, cutting in between the two of them, as Sonic can only shield himself from the massive splash of water. As water from the splash rains around him, Sonic can only float there in silence, unsure of what to do, or even what to say. Cut to later, where Storm is cooking up some jelly? Rice and chili? Or a beef stew? Something? Well, I assume Jet is saying, "How could he? It's an insult to racing, an insult to me." While Storm comes in with 3 bowls while Wave is tinkering with a new device. Storm places Jet's bowl down, questioning, "Maybe someone paid him off." Jet massages his temple, saying, "Maybe someone paid him off? Please, this is Sonic the Hedgehog we're talking about." Wave shrugs, saying, "Well, Sonic's always doing the hero shtick, right? Stopping bad guys or whatever?" As Storm places Wave's bowl down too. As Storm sits down, ready to dig in, Storm says, "So if he's trying to stop the clean sweepstakes," a shocked Jet finishes saying, "Stinking clean sweep must be the bad guys." I love how fast they figured this one out. As Storm chows down, Wave notes, "If this is true, it'd mean the entire event is a scam to profit off of the Restoration's good name." What a scam! Oh, the event is a scheme. Then she says scam. And Jet pops out of his seat, twirling his spoon, saying, "And Sonic figured it out before we did? How dare he?" Like, dude, you're just looking for something to be outraged by at this point. But he calls out, "I won't stand for this. Rogues, we have a new mission." Meanwhile, in the Misty Spire Marketplace, I love these background character designs. You pick up with Surge and Kit. Surge, obviously, is still a little taken off guard by what she saw earlier. Kit meekly runs after her, questioning, "Surge, are you angry?" A flustered Scourge questions, "Why wouldn't I be? This was supposed to be a simple gig. Play nice until the possum gives the word. Then rough up the Restoration. Easy. But then the sweepstakes started, and everything's gotten, I don't know what it's gotten." Suddenly someone calls out, "Surge, it's you!" Much to Surge and Kit's shock, a small child comes running up. Surge turns while Kit kind of shies away a little bit. The Surge asking, "What's your problem, kid?" The small child says, "I saw you fight the scary guy before, and then you did it again today. I like your bike and your big hair and your electricity." Oh, it's the conductor's wife. Oh, the shirt says Ivy. Is this child's name Ivy? I didn't know they were allowed to do something like this. From what I heard, usually they're not allowed to add relatives to any characters. Or was this something that was already around? The conductor's wife says, "Oh, just to make sure you understand, she's from Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. That's where she first appeared, just in case you don't know." The conductor's wife comes in holding back Ivy, saying, "I'm so sorry. Come on, sweetie. We gotta leave the nice Tenric alone now, okay? She's very busy." And as the conductor's wife takes Ivy's hand and ushers her away, Ivy turns back and waves, saying, "Bye, Surge. I'm gonna be spiky and punch a lot of guys, too." I gotta love that. Leaving both Surge and Kit bewildered. Oh, and Surge gives a bit of a wave and a meek bye. And a smile. Probably the most genuine smile I've kind of seen out of her. Uh-oh. Are we actually doing the redemption arc thing? I know that Ian was trying to keep her a bit of a villain, but Surge then looks away, saying, "Kit, I don't think I can keep doing this. You don't deserve it." Kit then says, "I don't understand what's going on either. But when the crowd cheers for you, you light up. The whole world lights up." He then smiles at her and says, "I would do anything to see that again." Oh, then cut back to, I guess, the Diamond Cutters training facility or the Restoration training facility. And the Diamond Cutters even have their own poster? That's kind of cool. Lanolin, obviously angry, is going at a heavy bag, while Duo holds a bag of ice on his head, saying, I really am sorry. some diamond cutter I am. My first real action, and all I've got to show for it is a bump to the head. I didn't even see him coming. And that genuinely looks like a bruise too. Duo says, I know Tangle and Whisper said the Phantom Rider. Wait. I know Tangle and Whisper said the Phantom Rider. Oh, ran away. The Phantom ran away. Okay. Oh man. My reading is so terrible for this issue. But I don't know. You think they're hiding something? Trying to spare our feelings? He's working one over on her. She's working that bag hard. As he says, it's hard to say what they do on their own. I guess we're lucky to always have you guiding us, Lanolin. Is that him being facetious? But he is playing Lanolin hard. Oh, and Tangle's just outside the door listening to all of this. He then takes off down the corridor and then peeks in on Whisper's room, calling out to her. Whisper is sitting on her bed surrounded by her wisps. They then make room as Tangle sits on the other end of the bed and tells her, I didn't tell the others what happened. Tangle then starts to play with her tail nervously, saying, I can't just give up on Sonic. I know what we saw, but I don't believe it. Lanolin hates the Phantom Rider. If we tell her, I'm scared of what she'll do. Which isn't a positive sign when you're scared to tell someone who you should have the ability to trust and confide in. Tangle then turns with determination, saying, we have to figure this out, but I don't. Whisper then hands over her mask, saying, look at this. I stopped recording video on my mask after we fought Mimic together. I thought I didn't need to anymore, but after what happened with Silver, I started again. I can't trust myself anymore, but I trust what this mask sees, and I trust you. Tangle then puts on the mask, and it's footage of the two different riders. Whisper tells her, it's hard to see, but the Phantom that attacked us today was riding a different X-Gear. And then we see the footage of when Sonic was unmasked. Whisper saying Sonic was on the first board from before. Then cut to the second Phantom Rider holding up Duo's scarf. As Whisper says in his first appearance, the Phantom didn't attack anyone directly. Not like, and the footage of the second Phantom repeats. 1 down, 3 to go. 3 to go. 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 Whisper takes back her mask as Tangle sits there in shock. Whisper then clutches her mask, saying sorry. But Tangle gets excited, saying no, this is fantastic. This proves that there's more to it. Tangle then pulls Whisper in for a hug, saying, we're gonna figure this out, Whisper, together. Meanwhile, the Babylon rogues put their hands in, with Jet smiling, saying, on our honor, we'll find out who is behind this scheme and get even. Meanwhile, the Surge and Kit, Surge ruffles Kit's hair, saying, all right, Drippy, we're gonna do this hero thing right. We're gonna earn it. Which is a weird statement considering you're on the part of the second Phantom, but she doesn't know that. Meanwhile, as Tangle hugs Whisper, Whisper simply gives a quiet, okay. Meanwhile, with Clutch, he says in disbelief, Sonic the Hedgehog. Mimic leans on the wall saying, without a doubt. Clutch turns away saying, of all the half-cooked idiots in the world, I had to hook the biggest fool yet. Mimic gets a little startled by this as Clutch starts to grip his cane and tremble with anger as he says, I'll pull out his quills one by one and make 'em eat 'em. And when I find out who let this slip, Mimic starts to slowly back away, but is suddenly grabbed by Clutch as he says, sorry. My temper gets the best of me at times. This is my fault, not yours. I let myself have too much fun. It's time I got back to work. But suddenly, a very intimidating look crosses his face and a sinister smile as Clutch tells Mimic, the next time the Phantom shows himself in my sweepstake will be the last. Next time, the end of the Phantom. Man, this storyline is getting oh so good and oh so juicy. This is why I will always say I love the stories where it's multiple different groups coming in and the various different angles of a story you can get. Not saying that it's bad when we just have Sonic, Tails, Amy, Knuckles, all them and all that, but there's something just a little bit more interesting when you have multiple angles to go from, different ideals clashing, mindsets that are changed or solidified. And Sonic has gotten himself in a little too deep because he didn't think this was going to be something really dangerous or get a little too out of hand, but the direction that it's going now with this second Phantom Rider is biting off a little bit more than he could chew. I'm also realizing we never got back to Tails and Amy since the beginning of this. I'm honestly wondering what's going through Sonic's mind with everything that's happened. And now knowing that his cover's kind of been blown and the kind of division happening with the Diamond Cutters. Lanolin is a character who is so intimidated by the role that she's in. She keeps trying to force herself to try to be better, and that's ultimately going to cause more problems down the line. It's not a bad thing that she's a person who operates off of the hard facts, but she doesn't have trust, whether it be trust in her team or her team having trust in her. And you see that with Tangle and Whisper. They're able to deeply confide in each other because of what they've been through and how long they've been together. But Lanolin's still new, and she's trying to live up to this leadership position. And Duo sees that from a mile away and is just like, I'm gonna work this sheep, make her like a lamb to the slaughter. I'm just wondering how that'll come to a head. Because while there are some people out there, well, plenty of people out there who have an issue with Lanolin, I kind of like that we have a flawed character who can come from the angle of not knowing the characters well enough to really trust their instinct. Because the thing is, Mimic is good. He really knows how to just work people in such a way and just hide in ways that you wouldn't expect it. But I love how mad Clutch is starting to get. He had already kind of slipped up when it came to tying a bell, like I said before. You know, you just take the gear and say, hey, that's something we'll do, sweetie. You can just brush her off and be done with it. But by tying her up, that's a little bit hard to kind of walk back. I feel like he might be able to walk his way around it, but because Amy also knows that he's involved, much like Clutch had already kind of worried about, and because Clutch doesn't know all the connections everyone has, you can see the setup for him to take a bit of a fall. But the question is, how hard of a fall will he take? I love the Rogues too, also having so much faith in Sonic. They're just like, hey, Sonic's a good guy. He wouldn't do this without a good reason. Which means clean sweep must be dirty. They got to the conclusion with so little to go on. I'm just curious whether or not they'll actually be helpful or a hindrance. And then there's the angle of Surge and Kit. Much like Ian Flynn, I enjoy the idea of them remaining kind of villains for the most part. But at the same time, I really kind of like this direction of them kind of wanting to turn good. Surge, you know, people cheering her name, that admiration. But the thing is, that was kind of programmed into her by Starline. She was meant to replace Sonic, and that want to be the big hero and all that was what Starline designed her for. So I wonder if there's something deeper going on there, or if this is meant to be a bit of a redemption. But she is also working with Clean Sweep with Clutch and all that. So is that gonna come to light or not? What direction is that gonna go? We're on the long march to issue 75, and oh, I'm loving where this is going. I love it. I love the direction that we've been going with everything, and oh man, issue 75 is gonna be a good time, a good time. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Which part of this issue was your favorite? It's really hard for me to honestly say, because I do like what the Babylon Rogues got going, but we also didn't get that much of what the Babylon Rogues were all about. I like the situation with Surge and Kit and what they're aiming for, but it's also a question of how will that go wrong. Clutch is getting a little bit more intimidating as time goes on, but I do hope he doesn't fall too easily. But I guess I'm the most intrigued by what'll happen with the Diamond Cutter. Will Lanolin have a fall from grace? Will she learn to trust her team more? Is this a learning moment to help redeem her to some degree? Or will she come at things even harder than before? I'm actually really curious about a lot of this. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and hope to see you later. Till next time, take care. Bye.